You want a bagel? All right, $7.90.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I am your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. You know the deal. Man, it's Friday. Happy hour. I just poured a tequila, so I'm going to kick it. I don't even drink tequila. And
Tequila.
I'm about to just relax.
Oh, man. Dog, when I lived in Arizona, I would drink tequila every Friday.
Okay, yeah.
It was like a ritual.
Friday drink.
That was the weekend kickoff with tequila. I feel you on that. I love tequila. Underrated beverage.
Yeah, so
it's not something you just keep chilling. Like, did you go out and get a bottle of tequila? How did you stumble upon some tequila?
I think it's very not underrated. I think it's very well rated. But anyway, before I derail the intro,
underrated in a sense, like you don't keep it in the crib like that. But yeah, nah.
That's because everybody usually drinks the shit. It ain't never around.
Maybe I'm thinking. Yep.
Friday episode, we're gonna do a little happy hour. We're gonna talk about some fun things, and we're gonna get into actually, let me get into the fun things. I want to talk about the NFL mock. Todd McShay just dropped his mock draft 3.0, and I want to ask quick and talk about what do you look for in prospects when they're coming in? Like, is it film? Obviously, we're big on the film, but what exactly on the film are you looking at? We're gonna talk about that. Survey came out. White Sox fans, Chicago White Sox fans are apparently the biggest in-game drinkers and pre-game drinkers in the league. I want to know.
Of course.
I don't know if that's true, being a Cubs fan, but I've been to some rowdy White Sox games, and we're going to talk about some of those too. I got a fun thing I came across. Some white girls, some bricks were found in the ocean, and I want to know what Nick would do in this situation. So we're going to talk about that. We'll close it. All-Star game talk. Obviously, LeBron, KD, they picked their All-Star game squads yesterday. We're going to talk about the squads in general, who we like, why we think it's a better squad. They're both so loaded, but we'll get into the details there. Our boy Ben Eder is going to hop on and talk some NBA with us too. And we got to talk about the Jazz getting picked last. So we'll talk about that, Rudy Gobert and all that. Big Nick the Quick.
All-Star weekend, baby. Yeah.
Happy Friday, my G. You already know. Yeah, All-Star weekend, bro.
Yeah, super excited.
Before we hopped on, I hit quick. I'm like, yo, is All-Star game on Sunday? He's like, bro, shit's on Sunday, bro. I was like, yeah, I guess it is.
But that's like all they're doing, right? Like there's no shit tonight or tomorrow, right?
Yeah, from my understanding, it's all on Sunday.
What a money grab.
Hey man, they got. At
least they didn't even try to they were straight up about it. Like, hey, we need to do this. We need the money. We need some commercials. TNT needs us to do this. So
shout out Atlanta.
Shout out Silver. Yeah, shout out Atlanta.
Shout out to Atlanta. Should be decent. All right, let's jump into it so we don't run too crazy over time. So we had our conversation yesterday about NFL quarterbacks, owners not wanting to be. They don't want to pay the quarterback. So I thought it was interesting because I saw. Obviously, Todd McShay drops his mocks all the time, and he's now on. I think it's mock 3. This is 3.0 for Todd McShay. Now, we talked the whole episode on Tuesday, or a majority of the beginning, about when we were talking NFL about owners not wanting to pay their quarterbacks. Seems like they want to look for other options. They either believe in the coach more or the front office guy more, but somehow these top 5 quarterbacks in the league are unhappy where they're at, and they also want to get out of there. So now in the same breath, I'm looking at McShay's mock draft, which I have up on the screen for everybody listening. There's quarterbacks all over it, right? So then I'm like, yo, this must come down to just they don't like – this is the thing I'm thinking of in my head, right? It's like, okay, say you draft Trevor Lawrence. He balls out crazy just like a Dak Prescott. But then what? You don't want to pay him now? So it's like, what? Like, where does this cycle end? You know what I'm saying? It's like you get your guy, but then you don't want to pay him. So it's like, just don't even take him off the board. That's what I was thinking when I was watching McShay. You have any thoughts on that? And then we could talk about what we look for in a prospect.
I mean, yeah, I think obviously the Dallas situation is.
But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, it's like
you go through all that.
Quarterback.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
go through all that to find a quarterback, and when it finally comes time to pay him, you don't necessarily want to do it or pay him as much as he's worth. Oh, this man got the tequila with the ball of ice in there. This is sophisticated, right? You bougie.
You already know it.
Yes. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, I mean, look, man, we've already talked about this at length, but it doesn't make any sense. You go through all this to get your man. He ends up being the quarterback that you want. You end up winning games with him, and then you want to play hardball when it's time to up the bread. Send him to Chicago. We'll pay that quarterback.
Yeah, you get your guy in the draft. The fucking mock draft is littered with quarterbacks. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. The top 4 players on McShay's mock draft are all quarterbacks, like usual. But like Nick is saying, you go through all that, you get your guy, he comes to town, balls out, and then when he wants an extension, everybody lose their mind, and no one wants to.
How do we do this?
Yeah, wait, what do you mean you want that much? Hold on. Like, bro, stop it.
The only easy extension was Mahomes. That was easy.
Yo, let me ask you this: what are we missing? Is there something that we're missing? Maybe like that. Are we just looking at this too? I guess.
I think the Dak situation. So I think the other quarterback situations aren't built around finance, right? The other ones are unhappy for whatever reason, but money's not it. Russell Wilson's got his deal. Deshaun's deal kicks in this year, right? So those dudes are financially straight. The Dak situation is, look, man, it's the same. We've been talking about this for 3 years. Everybody knew where we would be at this point.
Right.
Work out the deal. Okay, go on another year. Work out the deal. Okay, go on another year. Work out the deal. Now you want to tag him. Now you got to tag him again this year. Now you're looking at tagging him again next year. You're looking at the situation where really you have to decide either you're going to give him some astronomical contract at this point, which is way more than what you ever planned on paying him, and you probably could have got him for 34, 35, right? Now you're looking in that $40 million range, or you end up trading him and hitting the reset button on that and looking for another quarterback. So their situation is unique in the sense that we've seen franchises play hardball with quarterbacks over money, but usually it's your Kirk Cousins level quarterback, right? Like we would all agree that Dak is above Kirk Cousins was. Even Kirk Cousins didn't even make the playoffs when he was in Washington.
So we're not missing anything.
We're not. No.
Okay.
It's they're missing something.
Yeah, I agree because I don't want to get too far. I feel like we talk about Dak literally every episode. So
it's the biggest story.
It is a big story.
Talked about for 3 years.
But I don't want to get too far into Dak. But like I said, McShay littered with quarterbacks.
This is so dumb, by the way. Hey, look, this is dumb. I don't understand. We've been watching football now for the last couple of years. Justin Fields has been the number 2 pick since forever. He's been the second quarterback on the board. Why are we trying to look? We said it last week. You look at these guys for so long. There was even some Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence buzz in some circles. It's like you look at these guys for so long and you start looking at reasons not to like them.
Right.
It should be Lawrence, Fields, and then we can talk about the rest. I don't even know who Trey Lance is, but I don't want. I mean, so yeah,
he sat out. He
didn't play.
No, he sat out because of COVID.
Great,
and that was
my type of guy.
He's supposed to be a dog, though.
Where is he playing? Well, what is that logo?
North Dakota State.
Oh God, another one.
So look,
is North Dakota State like quarterback you now? Isn't that where Carson Wentz is from?
Yeah. So this is actually a perfect segue into kind of what I wanted to ask you, because I know what I'm looking at, and I guess there's obviously you have to play the upside bill. Shout out Josh Allen. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. If I'm a GM, I would have flat out missed on Josh Allen. I was not picking Buddy. Flat out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
So my question to you is when you're – and this is coming from just straight sports fanatics that watch football and basketball pretty much all day long. What are you looking for when you're looking at prospects? I'm talking about football specifically, but it might bleed into basketball as well. When you look at guys on tape or how they act off field or maybe even on social media, what are you looking for to know that I think this guy can succeed at the next level?
So for football, to keep it real with you, football players, I don't really care about the off field and social media because you're just one of 53 people and your impact is only that big. I think it matters more in basketball when the locker room's a little bit smaller. But I'll keep it real with you, man. When it comes to football, I can't watch a college game and point out a bunch of pro prospects to you because I especially when it comes to certain quarterbacks, things like that. I'm just not good at that. What I look for, the things that always stick out to me are the freaks of nature. So I think I put in the group chat a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, look, I don't know anything about the draft. I can tell you right now, Kyle Pitts, I watched like a 10-minute highlight tape. I said, that guy's going to be good in the NFL. I don't need to see anything else. I watched a 10-minute highlight tape. I didn't watch a single game of Florida football this year, but I can tell you after watching 10 minutes and watching him pop out the screen, that dude's going to be good. There was a dude coming out of Auburn last year, Derek Brown. The Panthers took him in the first round. I watched a couple Auburn games. I'm like, yo, seen enough. Say no more. Roquan Smith was like that. I'm like, look, every time I watch a Georgia game, he's making a tackle somewhere on the field. So if it's someone like that, where from just like a pure athleticism, freak of nature, super speed, you stand out, those are the type of guys that I'll look at and be like, okay, but if you want me to look at an offensive lineman, you want me to look at a D lineman that doesn't get a bunch of sacks, you want me to look at a cornerback who's fundamentally sound, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So honestly, man, it's hard for me to evaluate an NFL draft pick. I'll look at the numbers and I'll look at what I can in the film. And if a guy doesn't stand out, that to me is a red flag. I'll give you a good example, though. Like when I watched Manti Te'o against Alabama, I said right there, I was like, yo, this dude.
Yo, this isn't a top 10 pick, though.
It's not a top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
It's not a top 10 pick, bro.
He's not going to make it. When he's playing against these big dudes, they're literally just pushing him off. He can't go anywhere. So I see stuff like that. I can tell you who can't play a little bit more than who can't. you know what I mean?
You said you know who's going to be trash.
I saw him and I was like, I want that dude will not have success in the NFL. And he had no success in the NFL. So he was a practice squad player on the Bears this year. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. But I think for me, it's just literally not overthinking. I think a lot of this stuff gets so over analyzed and broken down that it's like, dog, I'm not picking a tight end from Ashland in the second round. Like, it's just like,
it's not going to happen.
Baby Gronk, none of that. Like, I'll give you an example. I think that's a good point. How you just look at guys, you're like, yo, this dude looks different. Like, I'll talk about this year. Like, we talked about this a couple times. Like, Devontae Smith from Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner. Like, Buddy just looks different, and everything that he's doing on the field against SEC talent on the biggest stage and the biggest games in the college football playoff and the national championship, that shit's going to translate to the NFL. Like, I don't need to. There's not a lot of breaking down I need to do, essentially. Like, oh, they go, your boy Kyle Pitts is number 6.
Yeah, I told you, this guy, hey, I will send you the Kyle Pitts highlight tape I watched. You might take him number 1. I was like, yo, this guy, I watch a lot of NFL football. This guy he's like a 6'6" tight end that runs like a 4'5", and he's like a wide receiver. You can line him up anywhere. I'm like, this dude, yeah, like, say less.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is when you're dominating guys on the college level, you can't dominate. And this goes for basketball too, in my opinion. If I don't see you killing people in the college ranks, what makes you think you're going to come up to the league and make an impact? Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean you won't be good, but like, yeah, for you and I, we're not taking that person. So we probably wouldn't take Josh Allen, who completed 50% of his passes in like D6 football. So like, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I don't care what you see, but obviously we're not talent evaluators. Somebody saw something and was like, yeah, no, this dude just hasn't had coaching.
But like, for example, I watched 3 BYU games last year, and Zach Wilson looked solid. And the only reason I was watching it because I was wagering. But
what
brought
you to the Cougars?
Yeah, so like that was the reason I was watching it. But he looked good, but I didn't think like he was dominating people. Like, he wasn't killing people like a number 2 draft pick would do, and I guess the upside and all that. But man, the squads that he was playing, all this talk about what Justin Fields has done and in big games he's wilted, or like Trevor Lawrence has wilted in certain games. It's like, bro, this guy didn't even get to anywhere close to the stage that these dudes are playing on. So I don't want to hear.
Didn't Justin Fields throw 6 touchdowns against Clemson or something like that?
Yeah, he was balling in this.
So what are they talking about? That wasn't wilting to me. If that's wilting, sign me up. Yeah. I mean, look, and the opposite side of that is I saw
the year prior he had
I saw he grew a year. I saw Jamarcus Russell light it up, and I was like, oh, this dude's gonna be sick. You know what I mean? Look what happened. That shit might have been mental, but like, So I mean, it's the same thing that makes you draft Mitchell Trubisky. You know, different people see different things, and when you get that one thing you're fixated on, I mean, that's what you're gonna run with. But Yeah, for me, man, you got to be a freak. I look at the freaks.
You know
Show me the
another
freaks.
freak? You know another freak? Like obviously Reggie Bush is like an obvious one. Like this dude's just different.
I saw Reggie Bush live in person, and he's the best athlete I've ever seen
in person.
As far as like just you can't describe the speed. Can't do it. Him and Noshawn Moreno, believe it or not.
That's shout out Noshawn Moreno.
Noshawn Moreno was a beast. Goon in college.
I saw, this is a little off topic, but I saw Lionel Messi, like Messi the GOAT, on the ball in Spain, and I was like, he like picked up the ball in the middle of the pitch. I was like, this dude looks different than everybody else.
Different.
Yeah, just different.
Yep.
Certain dudes like that, another dude I watched for 5-10 minutes, and I was like, this dude's gonna be a beast. Jamal Charles at Texas. I was like,
Texas Jamal Charles.
I was like, bro, this might be one of the shiftiest dudes I've ever seen at the running back position. Like this dude's gonna be a monster, and he was a really good pro. So it's I wanted to get your take on that because I'm looking at these mock drafts and I'm hearing McShay, and I'm like, man, let me see what Nick looks for. And like that's actually funny. It's like,
freaks.
For me, it's like if you're not killing people in college, I don't tell me that this dude's gonna be a monster. I just saw him not do anything in college. Like perfect example. I had a huge argument with one of my really good friends. Shout out Maxie. You guys know Max. He was biased because he went to Arizona, but he really tried to sell me on Stan Johnson. And
Stanley Johnson.
And I'm like, yo,
still get a check.
Yo, Stanley Johnson has it all, has the frame, has all that.
Right.
Dumb, strong.
Doesn't produce.
But like he wasn't even killing people in the pack. Like I don't and I understand he's 17 or 18, but I didn't really see it and it hasn't really panned out. So yeah, man, I like to see dudes that are just like the guys like Kevin Durant in college and like those dudes. It was like, bro, this dude is a pro, bro.
If his head is straight, translates.
Yes,
yeah, he's a pro. I don't care about he can't. Remember, it's like, oh well, you can't bench 135. I was like, he can put up 135 buckets. What the fuck I care about? Like I don't need. I don't need him to bench press anything. So no, 100%, man. Basketball, same thing too. I mean, I think basketball is a little different because you might see a guy go out there and get 50, and he's not a pro. You know, you got your Jimmer Fredette's and guys like that. But shout out Jimmer. He's getting buckets somewhere. He's still getting paid to play basketball. But yeah, for me, football straight up. I don't know enough to evaluate a guy, so I'm looking for freaks. Yes. Shout out Derek Brown, Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, thanks. Yo, shout out Ben Eder in the green room. I'm gonna get you on here in a second, BE. I'm gonna actually bring BE on for this White Sox talk too. But real quick, before we get into this White Sox talk, I came across an article that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to get your take on it. So look, and I quote for everybody just listening. This is a tweet from @SayCheeseDGTL. A snorkeler swimming in the Florida Keys finds 25 bricks of cocaine on Wednesday, calls the police. The drugs were contained inside a floating bale and were valued at over $1.5 million. So obviously the first thought, I'm like, I'm definitely not calling the police. But
that's the last thing I'm doing.
What am I gonna do with this shit? Like, I don't like Nick, you pull up on a situation like that and you know it's white and you know what is going this is a possible some big money sitting out.
It's like 100,000 a brick
at least, right? So like what are you doing? What's your first play? Like you just just got back to the beach.
Hey, take a couple. No need to get greedy. Take a couple, keep it moving.
So that's the play.
I wouldn't know what to do with. I'm not gonna pretend like I even know what to do with one key. I certainly wouldn't know what to do with 25, but it'd probably be a lot easier to figure out something to do with one key as opposed to 25 of them.
So you said you might. So you
might make a call. Yeah, you make a call some individuals who you know who might be. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, but that's
everybody has those contacts. Like, hey, check it out, man.
Wait, that's actually a good strategy though.
Yeah, take a couple, and then kind of remember where it was.
I might just come back
do
and pick
the
up
latitude and longitude. You know what I'm saying? 63 north or whatever. I'll be like, okay, it's right here. If in a couple of years I'm broke again, I come back.
So look,
grab 2 or 3 bricks.
Or
you can get off easy. You're gone.
So I actually didn't think about that. I was just thinking like, do I grab them all or just leave them in there? Because like I said, I wouldn't know what to do with all those.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, and I wouldn't.
You would honestly get yourself in a lot of trouble if you all of a sudden started making calls. Like
nothing good would come out of you having 25 bricks and not knowing what to do with it.
But
having 2 or 3 bricks, maybe 4, you could probably you could slowly.
But then too, like you said, it's like, yo, if shit goes smooth, I might have a couple more of these. You know what I
Look,
mean?
these usually go for 100. Check it out, man. Give me 60 right now.
I might have a couple more.
You need a couple more? Give me a couple days, you know. Get my scuba gear back.
let me dry off. I might be able to.
Hey, you got a towel?
I might be able to find a couple more.
I mean, yeah, I definitely would. I'm not letting it slide. I'm gonna grab.
You said you at least go grab one or two.
There's no chance that I'm not leaving with a brick. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no chance I'm not leaving with a brick. Like, as soon as I can get away discreetly, I'm gonna probably take, but not too much to where, like, yeah, I'm not trying to be Pablo Escobar out here, but yeah, make a couple calls.
Right.
Yeah.
Shout out Los in the comments. Cody Lowe said, yeah, he said he grabbing like 6.
Yeah, that's a good number.
And just like, yo, that's
don't be too greedy.
Don't get crazy, huh?
Sell one in December, one in January, just slow burn. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, everybody's like, Nick, you came up. No, just chilling,
I'm
man.
just chilling, man. Just
chilling, man. Just making a little money. Had a couple investments that went well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel it. All right. The last
definitely not calling the police though. That shit.
Yeah, that's definitely not happening.
No.
I agree. If anything, I'm just gonna swim over it.
Yeah, I'm swimming away. Yeah, the last thing I'm doing is calling any type of law enforcement.
Yeah. Okay, let's get this last happy hour segment in, and that was a good one. Let's get this last happy hour segment in, and then we'll get off to this NBA, bring in our boy Ben to talk some hoops. Apparently, some MLB guys did, or some, I can't remember the outlet, but there was a MLB fans who drink the most survey. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, but apparently the Chicago White Sox came in first with an average of 4.2 drinks per game, and that's coming in at $46. You know what made me what really
$46?
Yeah, what really caught me was the prices on some of these. With the Braves coming in, hold on real quick. The White Sox, the Braves, Cincinnati Reds all drinking the most around, and the Cleveland Indians are all around 4 beers a game, it looks like, or 4 beverages.
Is this watching at the crib, or is this from stadium?
This is in the stadium.
Okay, so that's how they're getting those numbers.
So sounds like they took a survey of some people and were like, how many drinks are you getting at the game?
Yeah, $10 a beer is
right
over there at the South.
You think do you think the White, just being a White Sox fan and us being in Chicago, that you think they're the biggest drinkers? And that never even crossed my mind.
At the game, we go to White Sox games. We always drink heavier than I go to a Cubs game. I feel like, I mean, you drink a lot before the Cubs game, but yeah, I mean, the only time we didn't drink at a White Sox game, we saw a perfect game. But every other time of that, at least getting 4 beers. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay, look, I'm gonna bring in the guy, Ben Eder, another fellow Chicago.
MGD at the stadium.
Chicago, a fellow Chicago in
the draft.
Eder's actually a White Sox fan too. Big BE, what's happening, brother?
Dude, I had to run and go get a couple beers when I knew the White Sox section was coming up.
There you go, man. There you go. Wait, so when you first saw that, because I know you probably saw it on Twitter or something.
Wait, hold on real quick. The answer on the bricks is
yes.
Swam up on 30, then called the cops and reported the 25. And it was kind of funny when Nick was talking about when he was like going to call his guy, and he was like, "Yeah, he sounded like Pusha T on the song." He said, I don't know if you caught that, Sean, but he sounded like Push when he said it.
No, I didn't even catch that. Wait, so they said he found 30 and reported 25. Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying he took 5 for himself, kept it at a nice round number.
Yeah,
right.
And
then it's like, I
found these 25 bricks.
Yeah, that's actually that could have happened. But
why you walking like that? Oh, that's gotta go.
So apparently the White Sox are the heaviest drinkers in game. Eder, you go to more Sox games than probably anybody in this show, I guess.
So I think it makes a ton of sense, right? Because think about attendance at a Sox game. Like, if you're there on a Wednesday night, you're there to do one thing. And it's sit in the bleachers and gas 8 beers. You know what I mean? It's people who are going to drink 8 beers a piece, or it's someone there for a $10 ticket night with their 2 kids.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get it, they're so cheap.
I think it makes a ton of sense. I wasn't surprised at the results of that. At the results of the poll.
Okay, yeah, I saw Philly. They got Philly way at the bottom, which I don't believe. I know that the Cubs were like middle of the pack. I don't even, dude. The Cubs fans aren't taking any surveys. I think y'all are just taking a lot of surveys and shit. We're not taking no surveys.
No, you spend $120 to sit in the bleachers, so you're not going to buy 4 beers once you get over there.
We're talking to chicks and hanging out with people out the game. Y'all are taking surveys. I think that's where that shit comes in. But that's a whole nother conversation. But Big Ben Eder, yo, let me tell you, when me and Nick are talking about, we were talking in the group chat. Ben Eder's always in this group chat. So welcome, BE Ben Eder. Big hoops guy, knows what the fuck he's talking about. Longtime hooper himself. So we always enjoy a lot of banter in the group chat. So I wanted to bring Eder on and talk some hoops, talk the first half, talk this All-Star game stuff. First off, before we get into the All-Star game, Eder, what was your favorite stuff of the first half? And I also want to talk to you about Trae Young, because I know you have a very particular opinion on Trae Young.
Oh, man.
Eder was early on Trae Young.
What was your, I guess,
most
interesting? Go ahead.
Let's do Trae right now.
Okay, let me give the people a background then. Essentially, Eder thinks Trae Young's a good basketball player like everyone else, but he thinks he would be an absolute nightmare of a person to even be around a basketball around, let alone a game and being on the same team and franchise as him.
I think the direct quote was, he plays like an asshole.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that is a direct quote. So where it comes from, the only time I ever went to the McDonald's game, and since it's been at the UC, was the year Trae was when Trae was in the game. He came in. He didn't start. He came in, and the first time he touched the ball, he took three dribbles, 2 steps over half court, and pulled from like 34, air ball. Came down like 2 possessions later, same thing, pulled from like 35. I was with this kid I was working with at the time, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you got to see this guy Trae Young." I'm like, "Dude, this guy would suck to play with. Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like, this dude got like littlest guy on the court, and I think about it from like a pickup perspective. Like, dude, if you're on this guy's team and you've never seen him before, littlest guy on the court, and he comes, he has to bring the ball up, and 40% of the time, no one else is going to get a touch. Like, that's the last dude I ever want to play with, ever.
Yeah, but what if he's going for 28 and then he happens like for all
he fucking airballed.
But for all the stuff that you're saying, he scores a lot of points and then he ends the box score with usually like 8-9 assists
because it doesn't let go of the ball.
Yeah, I just think it's tough. I think there's guys like LeBron and Luka. Like, it's the same thing. Like, those guys, you have to, in order to maximize those guys, you got to build the entire offense around them, right? Ball's going to be in their hands. They're going to dictate pace of play, tempo. When they want to score, they're going to score. When they want to pass, they're passing to get assists. And the ceiling on Trae, to me, is it's obviously not as high as LeBron, but you're just not getting as much out of him as you are out of those other guys.
Fair. Where are you? I'm actually a fan of Trae's. I think he is. I don't want to say smarter than you're giving him credit for, but I think he realizes the situation that he's in Atlanta, and he has carte blanche to just do whatever he wants. And I don't know if he respects a lot of those guys' game as much, so he just goes out there and just wildly tries to get to the rack and get to the free throw line.
Who is Trae Young to decide whose game he respects and whose he doesn't? Like, I don't think he has that status in the league yet.
I think it's that he's not willing to do other stuff. Like, Lute Olson came out and was talking about when he was at Oklahoma, and they were like, "Yeah, we tried to get Trae some stuff off the ball and install some things, and he just wasn't really interested in it." So it's like, okay, well, if you're just not going to try, you're not even going to play unless we're doing it this way. Like, that's where I'm like, all right, I want no part of this guy ever.
Yeah, it's interesting because then you're arguing with the guy that can't be stopped on the offensive end, though, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's a fine line. I hear you, but go ahead, Nick.
I'm not. Yeah. So in the beginning of the year, like last year, I was like, oh, this is great, man. He's averaging 30 and 9. Like, this dude's dope. Like, it's going to be Trae Young's time. I've completely turned on him this year. I'm with Eder, man. I would not enjoy playing with him. I think, yeah, he scores a bunch of points, but it's off the strength of shooting a shit ton of bad shots. He shoots like 42% from the field. So it's not like he's a marksman out there. Gets a lot of assists, but it doesn't make the team
Dude,
better.
It's all the free throws on that bullshit stop and go goals when he gets over the screen. He gets
crazy calls.
Line, dude.
And I think the rest of the league told you what they thought about him. In particular, the coaches told you what they thought about him when he didn't even get voted into the All-Star game, and he's averaging 27 points a game. Like that's a strong rebuke from the people who have to game plan against him. Like, yeah, this dude is not an All-Star. So I think, look at Collins. Collins hates playing with them. They're going to lose a young player in him off the Trae Young thing. They added all these players this year. They're not any better. They just fired their coach. Now Nate McMillan has to deal with this bullshit. Like, yeah, I don't think it would be fun to play with him. He's a minus 10,000 defender. And yeah,
the defender thing is important too, because really all I'm saying is it's a guy that I wouldn't want to play with because he's not playing any D on the other end either. He's a stud. Like that dude is a stud offensive player, visionary passer, but he just wouldn't be that fun to hoop with.
Rather play with LaMelo.
Oh God.
Yeah, he would be really fun to play with. Yeah, he'd be awesome to play with. All right, let's get into just because I know we're going to spend a ton of time on this. Let's get into this all-star draft, and obviously we'll kick it off with the best moment from last night. Here, LeBron and KD kind of closing out the draft. There's a couple of players on the board.
No slander to the Utah Jazz, but you guys got to understand. Just like in video games growing up, we never played with Utah. Even as great as Karl Malone and John Stockton was, we would have never picked those guys in video games. Never.
LeBron, this is a video game. Hold on, I got.
So
we got to leave it right there. We got to take it. No, you can say something.
Yo, listen, look. The biggest thing that was, it just warmed my heart because I know probably for the same for you guys, but for me, it's always been fuck Utah. I don't not fuck with Utah at any point in my entire life. I don't care if it's the roster, who was there, but obviously I'm a Bulls fan. I never fucked with Malone. I never fucked with that squad in general. And then as an adult, we hear the stories about, their fans screaming stuff and what happened to Russell and all that stuff. It's always been fuck the Utah Jazz. I'm on record a bunch saying I like their team this year. I think they're very, very good. I think that whole narrative that they have a better chance of going out in the first round versus making the finals is nonsense. I don't believe that. But what you guys go ahead.
Utah would be a fun team to play for, man. Everyone except Gobert gets to pass, dribble, and shoot.
Yeah, everybody gets their little fair share.
Super fun. That would be super fun.
Quick. Well, you
Dog,
don't rock with Utah. It's like whatever.
After he said that, I literally racked my brain to think if there was ever a moment going back to NBA Live 92.
Right.
If I have ever ran with the Utah Jazz, NBA Jam, NBA Live 92, Lakers versus Celtics, Bulls versus Blazers. That's real old school Genesis games. I have never in my entire life ran with the Utah Jazz ever, nor would I ever. So they're 100% accurate on that. Yeah, I do not fuck with the Utah Jazz in any sense. I wouldn't pick Donovan Mitchell second to last in the draft, but I don't.
Okay,
that's kind of fucked up. Vooch went ahead of Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Vooch is
what?
That's Sean's boy. Don't talk about Euro KG like that. Euro KG,
dog. Euro KG. Vucevic is a dog. KD knows exactly what time it was when he picked up Vucevic. He was like, "Nah, I've seen this. I play in the East. I've been down to Orlando. This guy is a problem. He's seen it firsthand, no doubt." But let's because I kind of thought the same thing, right? I'm watching the draft, we're texting about it, and I'm like, damn, that's kind of rough that Donovan goes second to last. Because we'll talk about Gobert here in a second, but I'm like, man, that is kind of rough that Donovan goes second to last. But let's look at these squads. This is Team LeBron. Who is this guy going in front of on this roster?
Sabonis. But LeBron said he wanted size.
But look at the rest of the roster. You know what I'm saying? Eder, is there anybody?
This is the first time seeing this. This is the first year LeBron didn't pick Kyrie.
Kyrie went first.
He went first
to KD's side.
Wait, what's the question?
So the question is, I'm going to show. This is Team LeBron. Take a look. Take a gander at them. For anybody listening, it's Giannis, Steph, Luka, Jokic, Dame, Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, and Sabonis out of Indiana. And then for Durant, it's Kyrie, Joel Embiid, Kawhi, Brad Beal, Jason Tatum, James Harden, Devin Booker, Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Euro KG, Nikola Vucevic, and then Donovan Mitchell, who was picked second to last. Like, who are you? Where does Donovan go ahead of anybody? Maybe Julius Randle?
I think Randall and Vooch.
I don't know. Julius Randle is balling.
Yeah, see, like,
And,
that's
dude, and the only reason we're not saying Zach LaVine is because we're Bulls fans.
yeah, maybe that's true.
Nationally,
Hey, I'll say this. I think Zach is a better pure scorer than Donovan Mitchell right now.
oh yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
like, if you're picking Donovan Mitchell, if you need baskets,
he
right?
absolutely is. Dude, Zach
And-
is shooting 52, 42, 86 right now, 28 points a game.
Yeah.
He
it's
is
tough
elite level shot maker.
Let me ask you guys this, and Eder, I'll start with you. Do you think that it just shook out that way, that the Jazz were the last two guys picked, or was I don't want to say
no, absolutely not.
You think it was like, yo, we don't like those dudes, and
100%.
we don't. Why? What makes you think that?
So, well, for like I'm probably stealing a take. I was listening to a pod earlier today, and I think Big Waz was talking about it, about how like this year, like the Jazz this past week, they've been coming on, or like after that Philly game, they came out and said like, you know, we're a small market team. We're not. That's why we don't get calls.
Right.
We don't get any respect around the league. I think that is probably part of it. I don't know. It's all LeBron might have been onto something. Like, who really fucks with the Jazz? I don't know.
Well,
Gobert.
also, who takes
Gobert-
Gobert in an All-Star game? Out of every player on this list, Gobert is the
Yeah.
last guy you would want in an All-Star game.
Gobert, absolute last pick.
Yeah.
Tack on that he cried when he didn't make it a couple
Yes.
years ago, whatever. Like, yeah, he's going last.
And he was spreading COVID last year. Like, yeah, motherfuckers don't fuck.
They're probably just sick. The Jazz have been the number one story in the league for the past like 2 weeks, right? Like we're talking about the text. Like we've been talking a lot about the Jazz in the group text.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably just some Jazz fatigue. Like fuck these guys.
Yeah, I think it could be some Jazz fatigue for sure.
Just over it.
Mitchell's the conversation, yeah. In this type of format, Gobert is going to go last. It's just like if you were doing this, like Joakim Noah would be one of the last people. It's just not an all-star game type player. No disrespect.
Great passer.
I would take Joe first.
He is a
But
great passer.
yeah, Gobert is like he has no
throw
value.
Throw him at the elbow.
Yeah, he has no value in this situation. So yeah, I mean, I'm
Yo,
sure Donovan Mitchell is at the crib upset about this though.
Yeah, do you think it's worth getting upset about?
Just kind of like, oh, okay, like that's how y'all view me. Like, okay, for sure. Like with the best record in the league, like
Well, I
second to
don't know.
last guy taken.
Honestly, I kind of like it for them. Like they're putting this up on the bulletin board for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
And they're already playing like the small market, no one believes in us little guy card like that. I think this is good for them. I mean,
yeah, that's true. If they're already
can't hurt.
playing the small market little guy card, like, look, we make the All-Star team. Nobody wants us on their team. Like, we're the Jazz. We're going to stick together and we'll prove it to them type thing. Yeah, I feel it. I want to have a real conversation about Rudy Gobert because we were talking about this, and I think Eder thinks I'm a little too hard on Gobert, but I think Gobert is one of the most overrated defenders in the league by far. And I say by far because I guess he's won 2 Defensive Player of the Year. He's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year right now, and he's the current favorite from the odds that I was looking at yesterday. I think he's like minus 150 to win the award again. I've been watching.
We can get Ben Simmons at plus money right now.
I believe so. I would when we were talking about it a couple days ago. Look it up right now while we're on.
Ben Simmons for MVP.
For
No,
DPOY.
Oh, okay.
DPOY.
My bad.
I can look it up right now. But what I was saying was, for him to be favored for DPOY again this year was mind-boggling to me because I literally watched in the last 10 days him get murdered every which way. Embiid killed him, had him falling all over the ground. He's flop. I don't think you should even be a candidate for DPOY if you flop and you're 7 feet tall and you're the reigning DPOY. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to flop. You should like that. That shit is ridiculous to me. He was flopping all over the place. Jokic killed him the game before that. Ben Simmons was going to the rack and doing whatever he wanted in Gobert's face, on top of Embiid doing anything he wanted. Then Zion, a couple games before that, was going to the rack and doing everything he wanted in Gobert's face. He's soft. I think he gets beat up and moved wherever he wants. And I think he's an overrated just defender that he's got this narrative that he's just like this insane defender. So now he's an insane defender in every article that's written about him and every time he's talked about. And I think he gets killed all the time. And I don't understand how he could be in the lead for DPOY giving up 35 every night and people dunking on his head. I don't understand it.
Hey, cue up the flex bomb.
Yeah.
Cue
Yeah.
up the,
Yeah. Yes.
cue up the flex.
Exactly. I'll say this.
You call him reputation only? You say he's a reputation defender?
No, listen.
You call him a reputation defender.
The only thing that I agreed with that when we were going back and forth in the group chat was Eder said he's a really good help defender and allows them to, do what they do a lot on offense with his rim running. And I agree with that. But DPOY, give him the rim runner of the year. Like, they give him that award. Like, the spread the floor award. Like, because
spread the floor.
He allows them to spread the floor. Give him that award. But he gets killed down low all the time. And I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm about to get up these lines. But Eder, you kind of seem like you were going against me and then kind of came with the rim runner and help defense. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think, and this is a lot from listening to a lot smarter basketball people than me, the value that he brings on both ends, it's not going to come in counting stats, right? Like, it's him setting a pick, rolling to the cup. He's bringing two guys, and they've got four people on the perimeter who can all pass, dribble, and shoot. So he's drawing an extra guy in. It's going to open the drive and kick off around the perimeter. Like, he has a gravity, right? On the defensive end, I think it allows dudes like Joe Ingles and Bogdanovic, who, if they have a guy behind them, if Lauri Markkanen's protecting the rim, those guys have to play 3 steps off because they're just getting blown by every single time, right? So they're giving up open, like that KD, just like easy. Everyone's just pulling up on them. If they have to get up, they're getting blown by and you're giving up layups at the rim. Rudy Gobert allows those guys to not let people just pull up at will. To me, that's a huge part of the value he brings. Like, Joel Embiid, Jokic, AD, they're torching everyone they play against. I think what he does for them, both on offense and defense, from an identity perspective, that's more what I was trying to say as far as his importance or value that he brings to that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and like I said, I agree with that. But he's minus. Look, I just pulled up the defensive player of the year.
Minus 200. Ben Simmons plus 225. I'm throwing some cash in the account right now.
Minus 200 that's insane. Like, they're saying he's a lock to win DPOY, and I don't know, man.
If they have the best record in the league, he wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Back to back?
Yeah, I think if they have the best record in the league, that team gets some hardware, and that hardware goes to Rudy Gobert.
I mean, but what if they have like 3 or 4 more wins in Philly? Like, they're not gonna, you know what I mean? They're not gonna.
The thing is, Simmons and Embiid are gonna steal votes from each other. That's the tough part.
Yeah. But Embiid's plus 1,400. He's not even fucking in the discussion. It's Rudy Gobert minus 200, Ben Simmons plus 225, and then Miles Turner plus 600.
Who was the last perimeter guy to win it, Kawhi?
I think Kawhi, unless you consider Draymond. Kawhi, I think.
Because it was before Draymond, it was Joe, right? Or did Joe win it? Did Joe win it, and then Kawhi won 2, and then Draymond won, right?
Marc Gasol got one in there.
Oh, yeah, Gasol did get one, too.
Here, I'm about to look it up right now.
So history is not in favor of the perimeter guys either.
Yeah, not recently anyway.
Yeah.
But
is Kawhi the only perimeter guy to win it? Oh no, Ron Artest had. And talking about the last like 20 years, 15 years.
And I'm tripping about the reigning because last year Giannis won that and MVP, but the year prior he went back to back. 17, 18, and 18, 19. Gobert won both of those.
Yeah, Giannis did win them both last year.
Kawhi went back to back in 14, 15, 15, 16
Yep.
after Joe Kim won it.
And then who won it prior to Joe Kim?
Mark, Tyson Chandler,
Biggs.
and then you guys should know he won 3 in a row after that. You know who that is?
Ben Wallace?
No, Superman.
Oh, Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight. Then KG, Marcus Camby.
Shout out Marcus Camby.
Shout out
Marcus
Ron.
Camby won that late too, right? Marcus Camby won that like 35 years old, didn't he? It was that year in Denver.
06, 07 Denver, yeah.
Yeah, he came in the league.
Ben Wallace, Ron Artest, Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace was crazy.
So yeah,
Ben Wallace was great.
Unfortunately, none of those were in a Bulls uniform. But
nah, not Ron Artest or Ben Wallace.
It's a whole nother podcast. Yo, shout out Hakeem Olajuwon. Everyone always talks about his O. He went back-to-back DPOY 92, 93, 93, 94. I didn't even know that.
Go back and look at Olajuwon years statistically. Some of the years that he put up, the numbers are absolutely silly when you go like across the board.
Yeah.
Like pass, just block or points and rebounds, steals, blocks. Like, dude was a statistical.
Simmons has a whole thing on his steals plus box, and I think in like the playoff years, he was like over 5 combined or something like that in those championship seasons. Doing that from center is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, he's probably still underrated overall. The Dream. Shout out the Dream. He's so sick. Smooth cat. All right, let's talk about some of the squads, right? So we already talked about. Well, let me ask you this before we get into the squad specifically. Eder, what type of all-star game do you like to see? Do you like to see people Duke slapping the floor like playing D when it gets tight in the fourth, or you want to see just like you want to see the stars in the stands throwing lobs, having fun, joking?
The new ending is perfect because you get to party and bullshit for the first like
for
3 quarters of the game, but then you see dudes like last year you saw dudes like start slapping the floor and lock up and get serious. I think that's the perfect all-star game. Like, dude, I honestly like if I'm a fan of these guys, I don't want to see anyone like going balls out. You know what I mean? Like think about getting hurt in a freaking all-star game. Right. But in the last like 5 minutes when it's close, I think that's pretty fun. And it's cool to see, like, all right, who are the 5 guys on the court from each side? Who ends up with the ball, and who's just kind of standing around watching? Because that's the best dudes in the league telling you who they. It's like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I think the new ending is awesome for that.
Are they doing the same thing as last year? The target.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, that was cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, who do the all-stars of the all? Yeah, who are the all-stars of the all-stars?
Yeah, who's the
all-star looking to give the ball to at the end of the game?
Boss of the bosses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know LeBron looking to give that bitch up too. So I want it. LeBron looking to give it up. I guess last year he did.
Giannis is in the dunker spot.
Yeah. Giannis is definitely looking to give it up.
Yeah.
I know who's not going to give it up if they get it. Paul George gonna fire. Don't worry about that.
No, you know who's not going to give up is Jason Tatum.
We talked about him.
That's a guaranteed shot attempt.
We talked about him the other day. He leads the league. He's second in the league in shot attempts.
That does
Jason
not
Tatum
me.
After Brad Beal. He gets his shots up. There's no
second in the league in long twos with less than 5 minutes left.
He has to be. He has to lead that. No doubt.
Oh, they're great offense down the stretch by Brad Stevens.
Quick, would you say the same? You like to see a little bit of both, a little bullshit in the beginning, and then now with the new layout, you can kind of see some serious ball.
Yeah, you like to see some fun shit for the first half, but I thought last year it got competitive at the end, and that was cool. You really saw guys playing. Like, I don't need to see an all-out defensive battle, but I also don't need to see like Rudy Gobert carrying the ball down the court and jacking up threes. You know what I mean? Like, let's get some sort of entertainment value from it. But in a year like this one, man, I wouldn't hold it against these dudes if they completely came out there on Sunday and mailed it in, because nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants anything to do with it. Is that true?
Hold on. Everyone keeps saying that. Is that
some
true?
guys don't want to be there. I'm sorry. Like, Zach probably is like, oh, hell yeah, this is great. I'm one of the guys.
Who would be the one that shows up and doesn't mail it in? Like, everyone else is on board. Like, Jimmy
Zach Levine.
You think Zach's going to
Jimmy would 100% mail. Remember Jimmy showed up to the All-Star game that year and was like, I don't want to play? He just decided he didn't want to play.
He was like limping. He was like, don't put me in.
Zach's going to go in there like it's a real game. Man. Who would go super? Who's going to go in there and go dumb hard?
Eder's saying like they all went in there and were like, yo, we're going to mail this in. And then he just like went rogue and then started hooping.
Like, dude, Sabonis is there just like dropping his shoulder, trying to put people in the post or something.
I refuse. It's probably Vooch.
He's like, that's not how I was raised.
Yeah, I can see Julius Randle. It's all the first year guys. I'd be like, man, fuck that. I'm trying
to. Do you think Kawhi talks to anybody in the locker room?
Sabonis just trading buckets down the stretch.
It'd be amazing. Vucevic is going to win that battle though.
My bad, Nick. I didn't mean to step all over you right there.
No, I was just saying, do you guys think Kawhi has any interaction with anybody in the locker room? like, what's up, Why?
Yeah, I would really.
Like,
I mean,
he's just-
my
he's
guess
like a
is
dude.
my guess is
up?
no. Like,
No.
my
Shows
guess
up.
is like, dude, he probably thinks this is all fucking stupid.
This is so dumb. Did
Is
you
there
hear
any
this?
chance he's like a Belichick though, where he doesn't say shit, but like he's funny behind closed doors and like a completely different person?
Yeah, I used to think that till I saw my man try to dap him up in the tunnel when there was like essentially no one around, and he's just like, "Get out of my face."
Did you see the video of him talking about recruiting Serge Ibaka?
No.
When he was like, I mean, I just said, Serge, are you coming or not? I don't really have time to be selling you on the benefits of LA. I'm here. Are you coming or not? That's all I said to him.
Yeah, it's like,
you know, Serge got a text from this dude like, Kawhi, what?
because like I used to
Are you
think
coming?
like this dude is probably like Belichick, right? Like super, just like reserved in front of the camera, and then behind everyone loves him. He's a fucking jokester. But every time I see like shots or video of him when he doesn't think he's on camera, it's not like he's not like thinking about the cameras being around. He's the same guy I see that's on camera too. So it's like
Can't be Kawhi.
yeah, it's just like he just doesn't. The only time I've ever seen him fucking around was like after they won the
title. Championship. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, man, he's just like, listen,
hey.
you guys are stupid.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Like, he's the best.
Okay, Eder.
Assassin though on the court, so it does not matter.
Yeah,
like he's probably the only person that can get away being that type of guy. Like, yeah, it's just
he gets to 12 feet and makes it every time.
Every single
him
time.
on the wing
throws darts
that
from
mid-range,
feet and they just go in.
Yeah,
that flat mid-range is stupid.
Stupid. All right, Eder. I'm gonna show you both squads again. Team LeBron. We got Giannis, Steph, Luka. LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Luka, and Jokic is a stupid starting lineup.
LeBron, Luka, Jokic. Are those the three best passers in the league all playing together?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, that is pretty fun. So we got those, and then you look at those reserves, and then there's Kyrie, Embiid, Kawhi, Beal, and Tatum. This
is team ISO, dude.
I was just gonna say that team's a lot is more clunky than it seems.
Yeah,
Every single one of these dudes is going one-on-one.
There's no playmakers on the Team Durant team, except for James Harden.
Yeah, now
that's what I thought about when I saw it. It was all one-on-one ISO guys.
Going one-on-one.
Wait, yep. Kyrie's going one-on-one, Embiid's going one-on-one, Kawhi is, I mean, he does whatever he wants, but he can go one-on-one. Beal is definitely going one-on-one. Tatum plays a lot of hero ball. James is the biggest one-on-one of all time. Devin Booker, he could run around though. He doesn't have to have the rock like a lot of the guys we just mentioned. Zion's definitely one-on-one.
Zach absolutely one-on-one. Julius Randle's
playing fucking point guard for the Knicks this year.
That's when I looked at the roster, I'm like, what is KD doing? Because he literally drafted every single ISO player you possibly could, and LeBron went for all the playmakers. So LeBron's team's going to be out there playing. If it was like a real game, LeBron's team is out there playing beautiful basketball.
Yo, but
like finding the open man, like creating buckets, easy opportunities.
Doesn't that fit the captain though? LeBron's like, man, let me get the guys that move and shake, move the rock around, and KD's like, man, I need.
And KD's like, man, let me get off this broadcast. I really don't want to fucking be here.
Yo, speaking of that, before I ask Eder what team he'd rather be on, I think he kind of tipped his hand up. Kevin Durant hates Charles Barkley's guts. Durant would be in a huge smile, laughing and joking, and he would hear Charles talk, and he would immediately go to a frown, like, "Man, please, when is this dude going to be done talking?"
Took his eyes off the screen, like, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think it's just because of how Barkley has talked to? Just he has like the questions he asks, or what? What do you think it is?
I think that Barkley is obviously out of all those guys is the one that's most harsh on players, and I'm sure there was a lot of shit during that Warriors time. And Durant's got that. He's over it, man. Like, he's not going to deal with anybody that he feels like has slighted him at all. He doesn't feel like he has to. Right. And I think he doesn't play the game. Bron, even if Bron gets slighted, like Bron's gonna play the game. Like he's not gonna come on there and be an asshole. He understands he's an ambassador for the league. He's like Bron was having a good time. He's smiling, like whatever. I'm sure behind closed doors, like fuck these guys. But
he just
Durant
texts Rich to go get a reporter to write the opposite, dude.
Yeah.
Rich on the bat phone.
Shout out Rich Paul, who was remember when Rich Paul would just happen to be having lunch at the same place as what was that story?
Adam Silver.
Adam Silver, and then Rich Paul just happened to be there.
Yeah.
So I think he doesn't fuck with those dudes, man. And Durant has no problem letting you know he doesn't fuck with you.
Yeah, I think that's true for sure.
I think there was an incident. This is going to be bad radio because I don't remember what it was, but I think there's like a hard line. It's like a before and after, and it probably had something to do with Barkley saying, like, back in my day, I never would have gone and joined the 72.
They had like a
I think he just got fed up, and like from then on, he just doesn't fuck with him.
Yeah.
Don't you remember the Paul George interview? Was it Paul George or was it a Durant interview earlier in the year where just giving him no words at all? Like the interview was like, I think it was it Durant or George?
I think it was both.
And remember we talked about, I was like, yo, that interview, and they even said, they laughed about it afterwards. They're like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was KD actually, and he wasn't giving them anything.
Yeah.
Like nothing. But then they do shit like the Donovan Mitchell shit. Like, yo, I told you, guys around the league see that, and they're like, that was some bullshit. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and the younger generation doesn't give a fuck about these guys.
Yeah, I think that's actually a big part of it. Like, if you hop on Twitter, it's like, man, all they know about Barkley is that he didn't win the title, and that was it. Like,
he talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, he talks a lot of shit. Like, they don't even know anything about his game. Eder, I feel like it bothers you a little bit that Shaq is kind of out there and he doesn't watch any of the games, doesn't know any of the players.
It doesn't bother me. It bothers Candace Parker.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
they get into it?
Didn't appreciate it. No, they were talking about just like hoops and pick and roll and like what they should do in certain spots. Who were they talking about?
Oh, when he kept interrupting her or whatever? Or?
They were talking about pick and roll coverages, and Candace Parker was saying, she was talking about like, it's the way the game is played today, like you have to switch here or something like that. And Shaq was like, oh, well, what about early help, or what about like a high hedge or something like that? And Candace Parker was like, well, then you've got someone in the corner over here that's just gonna hit an open three. Candace Parker and Dwayne Wade were like on the same page of like, this is how you have to defend pick and roll in today's game because of the skill of the shot making around the court. And Shaq is like, oh, well, when we did it like this in 06, D Wade, remember we did it like this in 06, we won a chip.
Right.
And D Wade's like, yeah, Shaq, we didn't win a chip until you started switching on screens, man.
Right. Yeah. No, so I guess the question is are we looking for Shaq for actual knowledge, or are they just up there to have a good time and fuck around and break down highlights?
Dude, there's too much good NBA content, podcasts, whatever. Like, if you want educated breakdowns of the game, then there's stuff you can go get. I still love watching the TNT show because those guys are just funny together.
It's just fun to watch. I think Shaq has actually settled into the role too. Like the first couple of years, he was horrendous.
He was
rough. I was like, man, he's really throwing off their whole vibe because the three of them, they gelled so well together. But I think he's really fit in well. But yeah, I don't go there for any type of high-level hoops breakdown. The only one of them that actually watches basketball is Kenny Smith.
That's because he has to, because he's not as good as those guys were.
Yeah, like he has to keep his job. But, you know what I mean? Like, I watch it just – it's entertaining, man. Like, and Shaq, let's keep it real. Like, Shaq doesn't need to be there. He's got so much fucking money. He's doing that for fun, so it is what it is. Like,
I guess it's kind of –
out of all those guys, Shaq has so much more money. Like, this is –
dude, think about it. That's like a legacy thing too. Like, we're still talking about Shaq right now. We're not talking about Hakeem right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's a way for those guys. Like, think about how much more we talk about Charles Barkley than Patrick Ewing or Karl Malone.
I feel like we don't talk about Shaq enough. I feel like, over time, like people might like if you didn't watch that. Like you will you'll never see that again. It just will never. It will never happen again. I'm convinced that like it will never happen again to have a guy that big, that's that agile. You know, I mean, remember Young Shaq? Like this was
but dude, it won't. He said it himself. It won't because at a younger age, like nowadays, Shaq would have learned to dribble, and like Shaq would have been like. They always say like Giannis is like the modern day Shaq. Like that's who they would have turned Shaq into at a young age. Like they wouldn't have told him to gain all that weight and like be the
I'm
bully.
turning Shaq into Shaq. Fuck that.
No, Nick, I think you're exactly right though. I don't think we see that again. Like unless someone just can't get their body under control, like
Like he was such a problem. He was such a problem.
Yeah, he was beyond a problem. He
It
was,
was just
beyond the
unstoppable.
Yeah, we can't do anything with this. Like,
He was
yeah,
unstoppable, bro.
he's
He was
unstoppable.
he was. It was literally like, yo, what are y'all doing, man? Throw it down the shack.
Yeah.
Like, stop this fucking
And
bullshit.
when he was young and had the hops too, it was just like this guy is Orlando Shaq. Like, what is this? What are we supposed to do? I don't understand.
Yeah, Shaq was a problem for sure. All right, let's get out of here. Really quick, Eder. What we just broke it down. Team LeBron has all the playmakers. Team Durant has a bunch of ISO guys. You're leaning Team LeBron?
No, I'll go KD just because he's the best.
I don't think KD is gonna play.
Oh, God damn it! Someone said that in the. Someone said
he's
that
not
in the
playing.
comments.
Yeah, I was actually reading that before I hopped on, but either
He's
way,
been out. Yeah.
No, I mean obviously, yeah. Probably rather play with the Team LeBron, but I don't really fuck with LeBron, so KD.
Wait, I didn't know that. You don't really fuck with LeBron?
No, too much Bulls heartbreak over the years, man.
Yeah, he killed us.
Oh, I'll take that reason. I thought you were going to come with some bullshit, and I was about to be like, "Hold on, we got another half hour here." If Eder's coming on some tired ass LeBron,
No,
if
no,
it's a personal
just,
thing,
I
that's
respect,
fine. All
no,
right.
I respect. It's just a Bulls thing.
I've said it a million. If anyone's still talking about LeBron James' game on the basketball court, you should fucking go watch.
No, it's unassailable. It's unassailable. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think the Bulls heartbreak and the Bulls losing to him doesn't really bother me because I never really felt that we had a true real chance.
No,
at least we lost to him.
They were always lurking. After the first year of him locking up D Rose, I was like, man, this is gonna be a problem every single year. Like that was why we needed to go get a 2 so badly, because it was like oh my God, he just exposed us to close the game. What are we gonna do? D Rose can't do shit with LeBron one-on-one at the top of the game.
Dude, it's unassailable.
Yeah,
that was when he played D. Yeah, when LeBron was locked in on D, forget about it.
Yeah, shout out LeBron, man, for the career.
Miami Bron.
Yo, real quick before we get out of here, Eder, what are you looking for in a prospect that you think, like, when you're watching someone, you're like, yo, that dude's gonna be a stud in the league? What is it?
Someone who's gonna pass it to me when I'm open in the corner. Oh God, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know what.
Or do you just know when you know? When you look, you're like, oh man, that dude is gonna be a fucking issue. It's tough, man. So maybe we shouldn't be so hard on some of these draft picks. I just asked us answer the question.
If we would have, I love Patrick Williams for a bunch of different reasons. There's the way he carries himself. There's his floor game, his handle for his size, his willingness to guard different positions. If I had watched a Florida State game last year, I might have remembered his name after the game, but I wouldn't have been able to be like, yo, this guy's a top 5 player in the draft. So I can't sit here and say, like, when I sit and watch a college basketball game, I'm looking for like these 4 things from a guy because I know it's going to translate to the league. I'm not. I caught the end. Like, that's kind of what Nick was saying about college football. Like, there's certain dudes that jump off the screen. You're like, oh yeah, that translates. Like, like it's easy to see elite shooting, right? It's easy to see elite shooting. Like, yeah, that's going to translate. But elite athleticism, that's going to translate. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
I think a lot of it is mental. Like get in a room with a guy or talk to his coaches, see how they carry themselves. Like, especially coming from college, like, who's really going to maximize themselves? No one's coming in a finished product. Like, I want someone who's going to maximize
themselves.
Is he going to put in the work?
Yeah.
Right. Like, real quick, I know we got to go. This reminded me, I was listening to Amino Hassan on Sirius this week, and he was talking about Whiteside. And he was like, people are always like, oh, how do you miss this guy? How do you miss that guy? He's like, yo. And like Christian Wood, he's like, yo, no one missed on Hassan Whiteside. He was a jackass. Like, in interviews, coaches would sit down and say, what do you need to work on? And his answer was nothing. And they're like, no, for real. Like, what do you actually need to work on? He's like, nothing, like, coming out the draft. So it's like, there's no shocker this dude doesn't get drafted. So, like, to your point, it's like, yeah, you could sit down with some of these dudes and be like, yeah, I want no part of drafting this man in my organization.
I think
he's not going to put in the work.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think it can go the other way. You sit down in front of a guy, he just lulls you to sleep. You're like, this guy's got it together and he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's interesting. You gotta, I guess that's why those dudes get paid those big dollars. You get to evaluate talent and people. But I do think it's a big people game, like a big person as well, along with the talent. So, all right, man. BE, thanks for jumping on, my man.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah,
This is
man.
fun.
Yeah, dude. Anytime. For Big Ben Eder, for Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Out of here.